This is a follow-up on that comment about they redefined the kilogram in terms of the Planck's constant, because the Planck's constant is more accurate, and you can back compute the Planck mass from that. The fundamentals, the most fundamental things in Newtonian physics really is his three force equations: magnetic, electric, and gravitational. The value for what I call K sub m is that 1 times 10 to the minus 7th newtons per amp squared. Well, that's a given. Multiply that by 4 pi, which is a constant, and you get the magnetic permeability of the vacuum. You divide that to the 376.73 ohms or zoubels, and you get the speed of light. So to say that the speed of light changes would also say that Z naught, the impedance of the vacuum, would change accordingly.
They both have to change together.
Yes.
They're both based on the same. Actually, if you use the Planck is the product of the dielectric induction and the magnetic induction. No E fields or B fields. Total magnetic induction, total dielectric induction. The impedance is the ratio of the total magnetic induction to the total dielectric induction. That just simplifies everything. The 377 is a result of throwing 1 over c squared and 4 pi and a bunch of basically irrelevant coefficients into the relationship. It's the ratio of the inductions, and the Planck is the product of the inductions. Now, if we use inductance and capacitance, which are kind of what we've settled on as a way to talk about this, which are actually more geometrical than physical, because it's the geometry that determines the situation. The velocity or time, depending upon how you want to look at it, is derived from the square root of the product of the inductance and capacitance. The impedance is derived from the square root of the ratio of the inductance and capacitance. But you got to watch out, that can trick you, because it's just like with this E field and B field thing. Sometimes the inductance is given in henries per centimeter and not henries, and sometimes the farads in farads per centimeter and not farads. So if you multiply the inductance by the capacitance and take the square root of that, that does not give you a velocity, it gives you time. The velocity is a fiction that results from breaking that inductance and capacitance down into per unit lengths and adding the dimension of space, and it fools you that there's a velocity. This is the Minkowski-Einstein hoax that those pranksters have basically perpetrated upon humanity of this space-time. When you go to Steinmetz, there's only time. Velocity, again, starts to take on a fictional nature.
So the impedance of the vacuum, do you consider that to be ohms or zoubels?
The zoubel is when a situation where you have a natural impedance. So L over C, square root of that, that's got to be a zoubel. 377, or 376.8 or whatever it comes out to, is that's a zoubel, because it's a ratio of two quantities, not volts divided by amps. It's a ratio of the magnetic and dielectric induction, so you no longer can call it an ohm. And it's the same thing with reactance and susceptance, is you cannot call the 60 cycle reactance of a 1 Henry coil, which turns out to be 377 also, but that's because of the 2 pi radians. It's kind of a coincidence how those numbers came so close to each other. It's henries per second. It's not ohm. Ohmic resistance is something that's associated with direct current inside a material substance. The henries per seconds or the farads per seconds or the zoubels is something that's related to the geometry outside the conductor, the space.
Awesome. That's a wealth of... Oh, my God. It ties together everything. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.